Welcome back to the Transplanting Podcast. My name is Bear, usually joined by the lovely Daphne, who is enjoying a well needed respite. And today's guest is Ramses Blackthorn, a 22-year-old novelist, high school graduate, former student at PSU. Thanks for joining us, Ramses.
Thank you for having me.
Right on. I'm going to jump right into this. In your bio, you said that you identify as gender fluid.
I do, yes.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that journey's been like, and your journey with your gender identity?
It's certainly been sort of a back and forth, at least for me. Um, it, I want to say I began questioning in middle school, maybe, and with that questioning, I was first introduced to the term gender fluid, and I was kind of like, okay, maybe that's me for a while, but I've jumped between identifications for like a while now until finally recently I have settled and come into a comfortability with the label of gender fluidity, and I like it a lot. It's very much I can just be myself.
uh, Comfortable in your skin,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes sense to you.
Yes. I think for the past few months, this has been the first time where I haven't experienced like really severe body dysphoria because I can just express myself how I want to. I can just be out there.
No, that's wonderful. I do love that for you, and I, curious about how your gender identity has evolved over time. You said that this was has this has been in the making since middle school.
Yes, yes.
So, how have you seen your experience like evolve over time with your
Um,
style or
I looking back on like really old pictures of me, I was like, yeah, this is gonna happen eventually one way or another because I've always leaned to a sort of feminine um expression, and it it's like one of those things where it's so obvious to you until or it's not obvious to you until it is obvious, you know. So I was for a while I didn't know how to not really balance how to show that I am both a feminine and masculine person without just I don't know being very confused about myself. Um, I there was a period of time where I was juggling with terms. I think I went from gender fluid to two spirited to there. I think there was omnigender in there. There was at one point where I was just like, I don't have a gender. I was very confused. For a while, I just gave up and stuck with non-binary, which isn't. I want to preface that that's not a negative thing. It was just something for me to settle on until I was like, okay, there's something more here than just non-binary, you know.
wow? Did did you have outside resources help you come to that conclusion with yourself, or
It, yes and no. Um, I think I had outside resources helping me introduce myself to that side of me, but it was very much an introspective and inside journey for me.
okay, great.
Mhm.
And do you have family support?
I do, yes. My mother is a huge. I. It's so strange with her because it's definitely support, but she's so chill about it. I'm just like, okay, there's no, there's discourse. Like we talk about it all the time because I have so many clothes. But it's it I hear other people's stories and they're always talking about how their family was very iffy or they struggled in the family department of like actually coming out. But with my mother it was just like, "Hey mom, I'm gender fluid." And she was like, okay, tell me what that is. And then I explained it to her, and she was like, all right. And now I borrow her makeup like every other week.
No, that's nice. That's great. Has her support sort of inspired you to branch out in different styles of what you'd like to wear?
Mm,
Has she inspired?
I maybe, I don't know. There will be times when we look at outfits together, and she's like, "Oh, this looks really cool," and I'm like, "I don't like that because it's not in black." So we'll talk about like our outfits and different things, and we'll bounce ideas off of each other. So I guess yeah, she has inspired me a lot.
No, that's great. And gonna back up a bit
Mhm.
uh, to your bio that you shared with me. You mentioned being pansexual.
Yes.
We have covered that in a previous episode, but what does that mean to you to be pansexual?
For me, pansexuality is the attraction to all genders, no matter the expression, no matter the no matter the identification. But it's I always struggle between the terms of pansexual and omnisexual, because to me they're very similar, and there's only one thing that like separates them, and that is the look of somebody, like the style that they present themselves in. And
Oh,
that's very, it doesn't sit in my brain correctly, but I think that is where I would be going with my sexuality. Um, but with pansexual, it is very much, ah, yes, you are human.
oh, that's wonderful. I like how you put that.
Mm.
And then, does that go hand in hand with demisexual?
It does,
Okay.
100%. Uh, I would consider myself primarily demisexual because I need that romantic and emotional connection before I have that sexual attraction, you know?
Sure.
It's very much like, oh, if I can't connect to you emotionally, I can't see me with you at all, you know?
So that deep connection is probably the most number one.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Have you had positive feedback from cisgendered people that you've shared that with? Like, has there been an allyship?
It it's it's very similar to how my coming out with my mom works, where a lot of my friends are just kind of like, okay, and then we continue on. It's very just, yeah, you're still you. That's it, and I love it.
Yeah. Has there been a significant moment of affirmation that sticks out to you?
Oh, so recently I went to a event with that one of my friends was hosting, and it was kind of nervous because it was one of the first times where I really dressed up, and when I went there, there were a lot more people than I was expecting there to be, and everybody was very, very excited to see how I was dressed, how I presented myself. It was the most, it was one of the most gratifying feelings I had ever felt in my own body, and it was it was very comforting to know that people enjoy and like the way that I can share my existence.
Is it empowering?
It is very empowering. It's extremely empowering.
No, that's great. And was this event, what was this event
This
called?
was an event called Goths in the Park.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
It's very fun.
Yeah, this
I
does sound fun.
highly recommend if you are in the North Portland area. There is someone on TikTok who I will disclose their information if they want me to, but just search Goths in the Park if you're in the Portland area, and you'll find it very quickly.
Was there a particular inspiration behind the outfit that you wore to Goths in the Park?
Oh, that's a very layered question. So, I'm kind of a nerd. I I'm very much inspired by the costume designs of Castlevania, Game of Thrones, Dune, Elden Ring. A lot of medieval or Victorian styles are a huge inspiration to like what I wear. So I love big bouncy like flowing skirts. I love drapes. I love capes and corsets. It's very beautiful to me, and I love the older feel to it. So I'd say that's the best inspiration to my little outfits and how I
Wow.
fix things together.
Wow. So you do sort of collab,
Yes.
and you mix and match
Mm-hmm.
masculine wear and then more feminine
Mm-hmm.
styles together.
Yes.
Where do you get most of your clothes from?
So about that, it's you. In the beginning, I mostly went to Hot Topic for clothing, which I don't recommend because extremely expensive. Um, but on the other hand, I use Timu a lot, which it works. I don't. I also don't really recommend that, even though I love that I can just order clothes and have them within like 2 weeks time. It's it can be very iffy if you can't fit a lot of the clothing. You kind of just have it now, which is
Mm.
rough.
Right. There's no like I'm not familiar with Timu.
Mm.
I know what that is, but I'm not too familiar with it. So I guess the return policy is not always.
Yeah, the return policy is not great. The refund
Okay.
policy is amazing. I love that.
Oh, okay.
But the return policy is not great now.
And so backing up a bit since middle school,
Mm-hmm.
and you're very comfortable with who you are now, and have had that kind of resolve.
Yes,
Have you ever considered that you might be transgender?
I did. Yes. There have been multiple times when I considered transitioning, um, and I think the closest I got to actually trying transitioning was I want to say a few months back. So this is still something that I'm very much learning to be comfortable with. So I'm still on that journey as I go on. But I think I'm at a point where I don't I don't feel that transitioning would fit me, because I am again a very gender fluid. I am gender fluid, so I am both masculine and feminine and androgynous all at the same time. If I were to transition, I don't think I would. I don't think I would be me. You know.
Okay, that makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like transitioning wouldn't necessarily resonate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, and so along with that, has how do you see your experience differing or maybe relating to those of the of excuse me? How do you see your experience differing or maybe relating, from those of the transgender community?
Oh, I I feel like the experience of trying to find yourself through dysphoria and trying to find yourself through expression is something most of us can relate to. Um, I also feel that my experience was a lot. I don't want to say easier because it's certainly not easy, but it was very. It just kind of flowed, I guess. It wasn't as bumpy as I thought it would be, you know, because I've had so much support. I've had so many people around me that were like, "Yes, you can do this. You can just be you." And that was really nice. And I've also not experienced as much negativity as a lot of other people have.
So going back and talking about your experience in school, was gender talked about in school?
It was a well, back in middle school, I feel like it was a more prevalent topic. It was very much pushed forward and more. It was spoken about more along with mental health and how to deal with that, along with sexual education as well. But going into high school, it was less something spoken about and just kind of something there. Like, we were all aware of it, and there were times when, like, in certain classes or in certain events, where it was openly spoken about, and um, it was very much encouraged to speak about. But in like the everyday, it was just kind of like, oh yeah, this one person in this other person's class is trans, or this one person is homosexual, or like something like that. It was very much just a part of our lives.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Were there a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes going around as well?
Oh, certainly. Gosh, the one of the biggest stereotypes that was kind of like turned into a it was kind of turned into like a meme is the whole hand like going
Oh,
limp thing.
oh, the hand flip. The
Yes.
oh yeah.
That was like that was a big thing. Like, if somebody wasn't completely comfortable saying that they were gay or like they were bi or something, they would just go like, "Oh yeah, I'm," and do the little hand thing. And we were like, "Okay, we got you."
Well, I think that's a ingenious way to, just let people know
Mhm.
without outing
Yeah.
themselves, or yeah, kind of more of a comfortable gesture.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And of course, there were also safe spaces for everybody. There, I was not part of. Actually, I don't think I was. I might have been part of the LGBTQ club, but I don't remember. I think I was in various other. I was in like two other clubs. And both of them were nerdy, so we won't talk about that.
Okay. So how was, the trans youth treated at your school?
They again, it was very much kind of like, oh, this person's trans. Please respect their pronouns. Please respect their identity, and that was that. It was very. Whenever somebody was being bullied, it wasn't usually because of their sexual identity or orientation. It was very much just bullying for bullying's sake, you know.
No, that's no, that's nice.
Hmm.
That's really nice.
It was really cool. Well, bullying's never cool, but it was very it was very like, oh, I can be I can be lesbian or I can be trans and nobody's gonna be mean to me about it. They're just gonna be mean to me for other reasons.
Sounds like your school, was kind
Mhm.
and very welcoming and accepting.
For the most part, yeah.
And teachers and staff were all very supportive as well.
Mhm.
And sounds like, wow.
Mhm.
You hear a lot of horror stories all the time, and I'm, you know pretty happy that, you didn't you didn't really have those related horror stories.
Yeah.
Did you ever overhear or eavesdrop any negativity towards trans youth?
I have 100%. Uh, there have been a lot of times online, especially, where that negativity is drawn out, and it it's always something that I want to retaliate against, but I know that I am just one person, one stranger, even more so. So I cannot be like, hey, you can't say that kind of stuff because it won't leave an impact at all. It's just another comment, you know. So it's very much something that I can get upset about, but I can't do anything about, and it's it's very irksome, very irksome.
Something along the lines of, I believe we've mentioned this before in a previous episode about, you see something, say something,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like in your case, you want to be supportive, but you tend to pick your battles.
Not really. I'm very bad at picking my battles. It's like I can show support. I can be like, hey, my page is a safe space, but I can't control somebody else's page. Where like in real life, I can be like, hey, shut your mouth. I can't do that online, and that is,
Oh,
yeah.
have you yourself experienced a bullying situation?
I I certainly have. I just can't think of one. Especially like towards me being like presenting how I do now. I'm pretty sure like I've been bullied about it or somebody has made like a mean comment and I just paid them sass back. It's not something I've really thought about, but I know that it's occurred because that's just how people are sometimes.
Sounds like you just don't allow people's comments to get under your skin.
Yes.
And it sounds like you have a lot of coping skills and life goes on.
Yeah, it really does.
Wow. Do you think there's been more of an open-minded understanding, or has the negative perspectives gotten worse over time?
I think that depends on the group of people that we are looking at because I want to say with the younger crowd, people are very open minded when it comes to gender and sexuality and those topics. But I can't speak for the older generations. Um, and I also can't speak for people outside of Portland because I see mostly Portland and online. In Portland, people talk about it all the time. They're extremely open minded, extremely talkative, extremely expressive. And in the online circles that I'm in, same thing. But I also know for a fact that there's still prejudice out there. There's still stuff going on, especially in the political climate that we're in today. Th- that that stuff is still there, and it yeah.
Do you have several friends, or like a good amount of friends, who are trans?
I think so.
Or at least
I'm
those
trying. I'm trying to count them in my head. Like, oh yes, this person, this person, this person. I I know that I have friends who are gender ambiguous. I also have one friend that I know for a fact that is trans. Um, but yeah, I'd say, God, how many friends do I have that I can just label under a rainbow flag? Uh, hmm. Yes, I'm gonna answer with yes.
Yes, yes. Okay. Um, have they opened up to you about receiving affirming care, and are they receiving, successful care?
Oh yeah. I have a friend who has transitioned and detransitioned before. Um, they have pointed me in when I was exploring whether or not I would transition. They have pointed me in the direction of gender affirming care. I've also had cisgender friends do the same thing for me, um, and it's really nice. It's very nice to just have those resources and being able to ask because I think the hardest part is wanting to ask and forcing yourself to ask and be like, hey, I need help. But in the end, it's very, very nice, very helpful.
I think, most have their own individual journeys, and when they're ready,
Yes.
they tend to seek, help when they're ready, and because there's no real timeline or recipe. It's just when you're ready, you're ready.
Right.
And moving forward, what kind of future do you hope to see for trans and gender diverse people? Either culturally or politically.
Oh,
Like, what kind of future?
I just want people to be allowed to be themselves. Just let people exist. Like, the limitations put on people on how they're allowed to express, not really allowed, how they're forced to express is it's very inhibiting on someone as a person, and it's cruel. It's very cruel. And I would love to see a world where that isn't an issue anymore.
Just pick one thing to erase off the earth, and it would
Yes.
be that kind of viscosity of hate.
100%. The hate and especially ignorance. People lacking education on how these things work are not always the worst, but definitely a big problem because with lacking education spawns more hate. That's usually that's usually what like continues this cycle, you know.
And I think that is just unfortunately something that comes natural because if
Mm-hmm.
you don't understand something and you're just going to dislike it because maybe it doesn't fit into your
Right.
box that you think it should and then it doesn't, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have this negative reaction. What is something that you wished people understood about being gender fluid?
Oh, um, hmm. In my experience with other gender fluid people I have met, it's very much it's very much a kind of quiet expression. I've had people ask me like, "Oh, what pronouns do you use?" And I'm usually very quick to say, "Oh, I use all of them." But there's often times when I feel more like she, or I feel more like they, or I feel more like he. It's it's very much a quiet or down low identification. And I I love that people ask about pronouns. I love that people are like open to being like, "Hey, what pronouns do you use on first meeting?" But with gender fluid people, I kind of wish that it was more of it like a constant thing. Like maybe on like every now and then they're just like, "Hey, how you feeling right now?" More just like a check-in, you know.
Sure. And when I really don't know how to ask this, but how do you just wake up and you have a certain feeling or certain emotion
Oh,
to how do you decide which pronoun to use is what
one
I'm asking.
100%. It's for me at least, it's a factor of emotion and mood. Like if I am in a very upset mood, like I want to just tear something up, but I'm also like, hey, I need to chill, I need to relax. I'm usually in a very they them feel. But if I'm feeling really good about myself just because I associate this air of confidence with this gender,
Hmm.
I am feeling very she her. But when I'm just like in my thoughts, just like chilling, or I am thinking of something stupid like, wow, cheese tastes really good, he him, very much he him. I don't know. Cheese is just one of those things that gets
Jeez.
me. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And and to someone who's listening right now, what is the message that you would like to tell someone who is afraid to take up space? What would be your message to trans people listening right now?
Mm. At the end of the day, we're all stardust. We're all just people floating around in the universe. And we deserve to just be ourselves. We deserve to take up the space that we do because we exist, we live. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be free.
That is
Don't don't let your don't let your insecurities or don't let your fears chain you down.
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you so much
Cool.
for coming and speaking with us, Ramses.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
This was a beautiful experience. This was so fun.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, happy to hear it. And to the rest listening in, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review and share. You can always reach us at Transplaining Podcast via Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as find us on Spotify and YouTube. And you can also visit our website, transplainingpodcast.com, to leave an email. We thoroughly enjoy hearing from all of you. And we'll catch you in the next episode. And as always, welcome to the family.